Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the top 10 beasts for Warcry. In this video I've taken my favourite beasts from the 4 Warcry supplement books, and these are the Agents of Chaos, Sentinels of Order, Bringers of Death and Harbingers of Destruction. And I'll be looking for the beast rune mark that you can see on the fighter card here, and then once we've looked at the fighter card we'll take a look at the ability that's directly related to the beast or to another fighter in the warband that has some kind of interaction with it. This top 10 list will be in no particular order, but I have saved my favourite 3 until the top 3 spots. Right, let's get started with beast number 10, the Cockatrice, and this is going to be 210 points. It's got a movement of 10, toughness 4, and it can take a huge amount of wounds, 30 wounds. We've got the beast rune mark, the flaming skull rune mark, and the fly rune mark. So having that ability to fly with that 10 movement is really good. So the stats for the weapons here, it's going to be beaks and claws all the way with the Cockatrice, and this is a weapon range of 1, so you've got to get in close, but when you do you can make 4 attacks, strength 4, and this is going to deal 2 to 5 points of damage. So a great damage output there, and 4 average for strength, but making 4 attacks is really nice, and having that flight and 10 movement is really going to help you get in and do some damage to the enemy. But let's have a look at the ability that comes with this, and it's a triple called Petrifying Gaze, and here you pick one visible enemy fighter within 8 inches of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 2+, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the roll, and in addition you subtract 1 from the move characteristic to a minimum of 1 of that fighter until the end of the battle round. So this is a really good one to use on an enemy fighter that hasn't activated yet, and then you can reduce their movement, and with that 8-inch range you could even attack another fighter and then choose another fighter 8 inches away to take this attack out on, this ability attack out on. So I really like this one, and I also like this little twist where it's the damage points equal to the number of the roll and not the number of the ability. So there we go, there's our first beast, and a great way to start from Chaos, from the Beasts of Chaos. Now let's move on to number 9, and here we've got the Gorehound, and this is going to come in at 205 points. Got a movement 8, toughness 4, and taking 25 wounds. We've got the Agile rune mark, the Beast rune mark, and one other rune mark there. This is going to be attacking with those claws and teeth again, with a weapon range of 1, a nice 5 attacks this time, and strength is 4, and the damage output is 2 to 5. So quite similar to the previous beast. The points are 5 less, movement's not as much, and can't fly, can't take as much damage, but it is that 1 extra attack. So I think for 5 points less, you do lose quite a lot here. But let's have a look at the ability first, because this could be quite good. So this is a double called Hungry for Flesh. And here, a fighter can use this ability only if there is a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of them. This fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to the closest visible enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. So this is actually really good, so we can make this extra move action here just for a double, so you can imagine using this a lot during a battle, and it really plays into the idea of you release the hounds, they charge towards the enemy, frenzy, trying to get at the nearest enemy fighter to them, which is pretty much what would happen, I guess. So yeah, I really like this one. So it's a bonus move action, but you have to finish closer to the closest visible enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. So this is great. You could use them like a slingshot. You've got that 8 movement. So imagine they're, just over 4 inches away from you, say 4.5 inches away. You could make that bonus move, and as long as you're less than 4.5 inches, so say 3.5 inches away from them when you finish the move, you're closer than when you started, but you could get that 3.5 inches maybe towards another enemy fighter that's further away, that has more points value perhaps, so you want to get there, or slingshot yourself towards an objective. So I really like that ability, and for a double I think it's really useful. So I think on the whole 205 points is pretty good for that. Now in at number 8, we've got the Rat Ogre with Warp Fire Gun. So really cool to have a beast with some kind of ranged weapon. So I like this one. And it's 235 points, nice movement 5, toughness 4, can take 30 wounds. We've got the Bulwark rune mark and the Beast rune mark. And we've got 2 weapon options. The first is that range weapon, the Warp Fire Gun. And this is going to be a minimum 3, maximum 8. you can make 2 attacks, strength 5, and deal 3 to 6 on a crit. So that's really nice. Only 2 attacks, but the strength is good and the damage output is great. But look, if you get close, you've still got those claws to shred them up a bit, and you can make 2 attacks, strength 4, and then you're going to deal 4 to 8 points of damage. So that's huge. So a huge damage output, and I think this is some really interesting stats here. But let's have a look at the ability, which is a triple, and it's called Crushing Charge. And until the end of this fighter's activation, the next time this fighter finishes a move action within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter. Then allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So for a triple, you get 5s or triple 6s. You can deal out a good amount of damage there as a nice little bonus on top of those weapon stats. There's not that many beasts available. There's maybe 12 altogether. So I thought we could have a tie at number 8 with the Rat Ogre. And so this is very similar, but we're not going to have the 2 different options for the weapons. The ability's the same, but the damage output's great on this. Look at that. It's a range of 1, 4 attack, strength 4, dealing 4 to 8 on a crit. So I really like that one, and I think for 225 points, it's pretty good. And we're sticking with Skaven, where at number 7, we've got the Giant Rat, and this is going to be 35 points, so really low on the points, our lowest beast. And this has got movement 8, toughness 2, and this is going to take 4 wounds, so not a huge amount there. Got the Beast rune mark and the Agile rune mark. And then for the weapon, it's just going to be teeth all the way here, and it's 1 inch of range, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So you're not going to do an awful lot of damage. You're not going to take a lot, but you're going to have a few of these in your warband. They're going to certainly be annoying to the enemy. And they get an ability too, which is a double called Scurry Away. And here a fighter can use this ability only if they are within 3 inch of an enemy fighter. You roll a dice, and on a 4+, this fighter makes a bonus disengage action. So I don't know if I'd use that much. I'd really want these guys to just keep harassing the enemy and almost prevent the enemy from disengaging. So yeah, I don't know if this ability is great, but you can't complain. For 35 points to get a double ability is pretty good. Now at number 6, we've got the Griffhound. I really like Griffhounds. I think they're awesome looking models. And for 150 points, you're going to get a movement 6, toughness 4, and 20 wounds. You've got the Beast rune mark, and then this is going to attack with Beak and Claw from a range of 1, making 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So a pretty solid stat line for 150 points, but it does come with an ability, which is a triple called Darting Attack. And this fighter makes a bonus attack action. Then they can make a bonus disengage action. So this is really good. I think this triple ability is awesome. Being able to make that bonus attack is really good. And if you imagine you're already within range of an enemy fighter when you start your activation, you could make 2 attacks. And if you've got the use of a triple, you could make a 3rd as well, and then also disengage if you don't finish them off. So I think this is a really good one for a triple. It's going to come up quite a few times. For 150 points, I really like this one, and a great include in a Stormcast warband. Now we're on to number 5, and we've got the Serpents from the Splintered Fang, and these are going to come in at 65 points. You've got a movement 6, toughness 2, and they can take 8 wounds. They've got the Beast rune mark as well, and here the attack is a range of 1. You can make a nice 5 attacks with them, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So I think being able to make 5 attacks and dealing 1 to 4 on a crit for a 65 point model is not bad at all. The toughness isn't very good, as you can expect. They're just small serpents. The strength isn't great, but the rest are pretty good. Being able to take 8 wounds is nice. And although they don't get their own ability, they do have access to the Splintered Fang warband ability, which is a double called Poisoned Weapon. And until the end of this fighter's activation, the strength characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter count as being higher than the target's toughness characteristic. So this is really good. If you could use this with the serpents, you're going to be able to attack them and always have a higher strength than their toughness when you use it. So that's really good. When you're making 5 attacks, you're going to do some fair amount of damage there. And again, if you can get in base contact or within an inch at the start of the activation, there's 2 attacks there. You're going to be rolling 10 dice and your strength is going to be higher. So I really like the serpents, and I think this ability combined with them is a great tactic. It's all about chaos, but now we're moving into destruction with the Ogre Moor tribes. And here at number 4, we've got the Frost Saber, and this is 170 points. We've got a movement 8, toughness 4, and this is going to take 20 wounds. We've got the beast rune mark and no others. And then for the weapon, again, fangs and teeth, weapon range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So 170 points. It's a bit more than the Griffon. It's a little bit different there in the damage output. So yeah, not too bad. But let's have a look at the double, and it gets to be used in coordination with its leader. So it doesn't get its own ability. You have to use it alongside the leader. So this is a double called Lead the Skull. And you pick a visible friendly fighter, which would be this Frost Saber, with the beast rune mark. And they've got to be within 4 inches of the leader. That friendly fighter can then make a bonus attack action. So again, that's really nice. These bonus attack actions are great for the beasts. And as long as they're within 4 inches, that's awesome. They've got to be visible as well. Then you can use them. And the idea of pairing up a beast with the leader, like they're working side by side, I think is a really fun way to play. Now we're on to number 3, and I really like the look of this one. I think it's an awesome model. It's not a new one by any means, but it looks really cool. And this is from the Seraphon, and this is called the Razordon. And this is 170 points, got a movement 6, toughness 4, and can take 20 wounds. Here, your range of attack is 12 inches, which is awesome. And you can make 5 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So the stats for this are interesting. You don't really see this much in many of the other fighters in Warcry. So yeah, I really like the stats. They're quite unique. And they also get a double that they can use with other fighters who have got the Trapper rune mark. And this is a double called Hunting Pack. And you pick a visible friendly fighter with a beast rune mark, which will be this Razordon. And they've got to be within 2 inches of that fighter. Then the Razordon can make a bonus attack action. So again, we're getting this attack action. And so if you're close enough where you're in range, you could potentially make 3 attacks during your activation, rolling 5 dice each time. So that's really cool. I think, having lots of dice rolls is fun, and when you can roll 15 potentially in one activation, that's awesome. There's another one with a Seraphon, so I had to do a tie at number 3. I don't like this one quite as much, but still an interesting model. The stats here are a range of 7, so you get a nice range. You can make 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 3 to 6 on a crit. So pretty good damage output there. And for 130 points, you're getting 20 wounds, a movement 6 as well, and access to that ability. Now we're on to one of my favourite models from one of my favourite warbands, the Untamed Beast, and this is the Rock Tusk Prowler. I really like this model. I think it's awesome. A great looking model, great fun to play. And for 180 points, you get a movement 8, toughness 4, and you can take 20 wounds. We've got the Beast rune mark, and then it's going to attack with those teeth and fangs from a range of 1, 4 attack, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So all these stats are quite similar for these kind of beasts, but it's the abilities that I like for them. And let's have a look at this one. So this is a triple called Pounce, and until the end of this fighter's activation, the next time this fighter finishes a move action within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, you pick an enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter, then allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So very similar to what we've seen earlier. Nice and simple though, and I like this where you can just deal some extra points. You could almost move, use your ability, take one out, move again, or attack another one near you. So it gives you lots of options. Certainly when you start getting enemy fighters with just a few points left, this can be pretty handy. And if you're rolling 4, 5s or even 6s, you're going to deal out a nice amount of damage. And that brings us to the top spot, number 1, and it had to be the Cave Squigg. I think this is awesome from the Gloomspike Gits. I love the Squiggs. And so 140 points, we get a movement 4, toughness 4, and we can take 15 wounds. We've got just the Beast rune mark, and then again open that big mouth. That's what we're going to be attacking with, those teeth. And this is a range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So that strength 5 is really good, because that's going to give you a better chance of getting some attacks coming in. And when you're making 4 rolls and dealing 2 to 4 points of damage, that's really handy. So I think for 140 points, this is a nice rounded stats. You've got a decent amount of wounds you could take. Toughness is okay. It's just the movement that lets it down a bit, but I think with that big head, you can let that one slide. And then because it hasn't got its own ability, it can use the abilities of the warband. So I picked one that I think works best with it. They do have a double as well, but I think this quad Sneaky Stab is better. And with this, the fighter makes a bonus move action, which is really helpful when they've only got that 4 points of movement. Then they can make a bonus attack action, And then in addition, if the fighter targeted by that attack action is within an inch of this fighter, add the value of this ability to the damage points allocated by hits and critical hits from that attack action. So you get like a similar quad than you do for the universal abilities, but with that extra bonus that you can add some extra damage points. So I think that's really cool and a great model to have in the number 1 spot. Time for an honourable mention, and I had to include the Aether Wing. It doesn't have the beast rune mark, but for me it is a kind of beast, and I love playing with this. I think it's awesome. The Aether Wing's only 45 points, movement 12, toughness is terrible at 2, but it can take 6 wounds. It's got 2 rune marks, one is the flight rune mark and the other rune mark there, and then with this it can attack from a range of 1, it can make 3 attacks, strength 2, and it will deal 1 to 2 points of damage. But for me, that's irrelevant really. You're not going to do hardly any damage with that, but they can prove really useful alongside some of the long-range Stormcast Eternal fighters, and it's the ability that makes this one really fun to play. And this is a double called Warning Cry, and you can pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of this fighter, and then until the end of the battle round you can re-roll 1 dice during attack actions made by friendly fighters that target that fighter. So this is brilliant when you're playing the long strikes. They get 1 roll, so you've got to make it count. But having the ability to re-roll that is really useful. And it can almost be 1 shot, 1 kill with them, which is really great fun. So I love the Aether Wing, and I had to include it as an honourable mention. There we go, that's our top 10 beasts for Warcry. And I'd love to hear what you think about this. Who would have made it to your top spot? And are there any beasts I left out? I'm pretty sure I got them all in there. But yeah, let me know who would have got the number 1 spot for you. It'd be great to find out what you think. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible. And if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there. And I'll put a link for that in the description down below. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.